Hi, I'm Daniela Soberon. I'm the program representative of the Master of Science of Environment and Development, and today we will tell you about our experience in Nepal. One of the reasons I actually picked the program was because of a field trip to Nepal, which actually started here with the preparation, with the classes we had before to learn about the culture, the society, the country, which at the end everything makes sense because we got there and we learned about all of this, but we also knew we came prepared and we were really excited to arrive to the country with this information. So when we arrived, the first thing that I realized was that Kathmandu was really similar to Peru, which was actually pretty nice because it felt like arriving home. And the first sign we got that we were arriving to a really warm place was Sanjay picking us up and giving us, I remember, I think flowers to all of us, which was really a nice gesture to feel like we're actually building a community, a family there. So the first place we stayed in was Tewa. Tewa is actually the first women's found in Nepal. The experience staying there was amazing because you got to see like women working there, growing up their food, then cooking it for us. So it actually felt like a really warm place to stay, and also you could get a sense of what's living and what's being a part of Kathmandu and Nepal as a society. In Tewa, we met our partners, the South Asia Institute of Advanced Studies, with the amazing Sanjay, who actually organized most of the trip. So I think the main thing that stood up for me from Tewa and the whole experience from arriving to this place was that you get to share everything with the people from the cohort and also from the CIAS team, because we were having food together, meals together, we were having reflections together. You could see how the food that you were getting was from around the same environment. You could see the animals, you could if you were lucky, you could see the mountains. So it was a whole experience which made us really excited about the next days.
So our trip to Nepal was all about learning about environment and development in practice, and especially in the global south. Nepal was, a great choice because of their community forest user groups, them being very unique in their forestry sector, and how they're able to, incorporate culture and community practices in being able to manage and protect their forests.
Hello, Queen. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to see this community.
Good. Thank you.
So being able to go to FECOFUN, which is a community forest user group organization that's made up of a large number of provincial community forest user groups. It was such a great experience to be able to listen to the chairman and the staff that make up that organization speak about the work that they do. I think what really stood out was the importance of incorporating marginalized groups, especially the 50% representation of women. I thought that was really nice. And I think they really highlighted some of the challenges that they're facing, which was really nice because normally in environment and development, we always have such positive stories, but it was really nice to see them kind of have an honest perspective and let us know that they're facing challenges with human-wildlife conflict. They have issues with funding, financing, and really, thinking about the future and the long-term vision that they have for the community forest user groups. Next, we went to ACAP, which is the Annapurna Conservation Area Project, and we were able to hear about the intersection between conservation and tourism. And I think what was really nice is being able to see how the two mesh together in raising awareness on conservation, then the protection of forests and different species around the area. And I think what was really interesting in the presentation was hearing more about how having more tourists come to such an area can really raise the awareness on such sites and why they need to be protected. Visiting Forest Action was a really great experience. Being able to hear Divya's presentation on women's participation in natural resource management was really, really impactful. And I think she really highlighted some key features on, despite the fact that women have 50% representation in community forest user groups, being able to really investigate what that participation looks like, and being able to pull out some of the challenges that women face in leadership, in active participation, and then just noticing that on paper it reads really perfect, but in practice there are quite a number of challenges. And finally at the end of the day, I think there was a really great presentation on research as activism. And I think that has inspired a lot of our dissertations, and really inspired how we go into doing research, and noticing that there needs to be a big why on why we do research, and really putting in those values that we've learned in the MSc in Environment and Development into the research work that we do. So we were also able to go to the offices of IWMI, the International Water Management Institute, and learn a bit more about the importance of water, resource management, and how it really ties in with the connection of Nepal and other countries, and how it ties into community values and questions about ownership as well. So one of the exciting things about our trip to Nepal is that we were also able to hear from government officials. So we had a presentation by Dr. Maheshwar Dakal, who is the Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Forest and Environment. And I think one of the key takeaways from his presentation was where he mentioned the importance of the knowledge that communities have on natural resource management and forest management. And he really talked about the fact that tapping into local knowledge is really, really important, and that the answers don't just lie in academia or in government fixtures, and that it's really important to tie back with the community, listen to what indigenous local knowledge is telling us, and kind of piecing that in with the structures and the practices that we are putting in policy. I think it was really important for us to meet different people that work across the natural resource management and forestry sector in Nepal before doing our field work, for us to be able to get an objective perspective and a very nuanced perspective on what is actually happening in the ground. I think each of the different stakeholders that we engage with gave us a different piece of the puzzle, and so we were able to kind of put it together before going to the field. I think the most important thing was showing us that it takes a community, like it takes every different person, whether in government, whether in the community, whether in the NGOs. It literally will take everyone to be able to develop a holistic natural resource management kind of practice and policy, going in knowing that we might not find all the answers, but knowing that it's the it's that multi-stakeholder engagement, that collaboration that will kind of produce the results towards what the answers and the solutions can look like.
One of the most memorable learning experiences for me was our visit to the International Center of Integrated Mountain Development, or ICIMOD for short. ICIMOD works across the Hindu Kush Himalaya region to support sustainable mountain development, bringing together research, policy, and local knowledge. We visited their Living Mountain Lab, a space where local farmers and academics collaborate directly to drive development in agriculture and natural resource management. It's based in this stunning mountainous area, and we had the chance to travel around the landscape, meeting farmers who are creating real solutions in their own communities. We saw firsthand how people are finding innovative, low-cost ways to deal with big challenges like human-wildlife conflict, water scarcity, and climate change. One of the practices I've learned there that was really interesting was when we walked through this kiwi plantation. They put this mesh structure on top to prevent birds from eating the crops. So that's a perfect example of how you can coexist with wildlife without removing it from the ecosystem. Our guide was a farmer who worked there for a very long time, and he was from the area. And he was really passionate about his part of work there. He showed us this amazing greenhouse where they were doing aquaponics. So they also had a fish farm and a plantation of strawberries. And they would recycle the nutrient-rich water from the fish to water the strawberries. And he was kind enough to let us try some of the strawberries, and they were really tasty. That really stuck with me. What came out of this experience was the idea that meaningful research and innovation don't just come from universities or labs. They can come from anyone. Passion, experience, and connection to place are just as important as academic training. That experience reminded me that change often starts from the ground up, and it set the tone for what we'd see next as we spend more time with rural communities.
So after our first few days in Kathmandu, we took a 9-hour bus journey to Pokhara. We saw a lot of different sights along the way. We saw mountains, we saw different communities. And when we arrived, we found out that it was actually Nepali New Year. It was the year of 2082, which surprised us all. And we were met by so many lively scenes on the streets, people dancing and celebrating together. And we were amazed at how welcome that we felt when we joined in the celebrations. That night we went out into the streets and joined the celebration, music and dancing, and people were everywhere welcoming the new year with open hearts. And the next day we had a break from our academic schedule, so we got to celebrate and explore the lakefront and take in the rhythm of the city. It was a really beautiful area full of a lot of tourists, to be honest, but we were able to also experience the culture. We saw beautiful views of the Annapurna mountain range from the lake, which was a wonderful surprise because many of us did not expect to see that. And we were able to go to a lot of shops and speak with the shop owners there and even practice some of our negotiating skills, which I definitely failed at. But yeah, it was just a wonderful day out and just some time for ourselves to experience something new together. And one of my favorite memories was when we went on this small boat trip on the nearby lake, and we just got to see the mountains from the lakeside view, which was really nice. So it was great to have a day to just experience everything for ourselves. It was a very surreal experience to see the Himalayas for the first time. Personally, I didn't expect to see that clear of a view. We were all there with a very academic mindset, but when the moment hit, when the sun was setting and it illuminated the mountains, it made them clear, the clouds moved away, I feel like we were all in awe. It was an amazing moment for us to connect together and to just enjoy the moment and take in the joy of the experience rather than it being fully academic. We were just able to bond with each other and realize how lucky and grateful we were to be on this trip. Some of us also visited the World Peace Pagoda, which was a beautiful religious structure. It was massive, it was bright white, and we were all just amazed by seeing people engage actively in their religion. We felt as outsiders and as tourists, we weren't imposing too heavily on them. We were more so observers, just taking in the general atmosphere of people engaging the way that they do in their daily life, and it was just a very beautiful scene to experience, and it just felt like something new that I was really lucky to see. So having a day off really helped us all to recharge and refocus our energy. So we were prepared for the next leg of our trip, which was traveling to Bandipur to meet with the community forest management group that we had planned to do our focus groups with. So we were all just really excited and recharged for the next part of our trip.
After our day in Pokhara, we went to the Institute of Forestry.
We were introduced to Nepal's education system and how forestry is taught. Then we play some games in the forest, make TikTok with the master students. We got a lot of fun also. We learned a lot of about knowledge in the forest, so which helped us to connect beyond the classroom. They later gave us a tour of the campus and its facilities, and it was clear how proud they were of their universities. Three of students we met, Sanjeeva, Pragaya, and Pratima, Actually join us later when we visit a community forest user group. They helped us with our research, acting as translations, guides, and collaborators, and it was really special to build those relationships across cultures and disciplines. With their help, we were ready to step into a more hands-on phase of the trip to meet their communities managing their forests and to see how the principles we'd been learning about come to life on the ground.
After leaving Pokhara, we traveled to Bandipur, a small mountain town with amazing views. It was quiet, scenic, and felt like a very different pace than from the city that we came from, especially in Kathmandu. We came to Bandipur to visit a local community forest users group. It's called Chapeli and it's one of the more successful groups in Nepal. This was the site of our first field visit, where we will put our focus group planning into practice. Our goal was to learn about how Nepal's community forestry model works on the ground. We wanted to understand whether the system is really benefiting the people, socially, economically, and environmentally. When we arrived, the first thing that struck me was how welcoming everyone was. They greeted us in their community hall with a small tika ceremony to introduce themselves and to make us feel at home. And indeed, we felt at home the first minute we arrived there. They also prepared a delicious home-cooked meal for us. It was really a generous and kind gesture from the community. After the welcome, we split into our groups and began conducting our focus group discussions. We were excited, but we also have to adapt on the spot. In our group, there was a huge downpour in the middle of our session that caught us completely off guard. Even with that challenge, it was a great learning experience for us in how we should be flexible in doing field work. After the discussions, we did a transect walk through the forest and surrounding community with local guides. We also conducted one-on-one interviews and took notes to observe the participants. It gave us a much deeper understanding of how community manages their forests and what it means to them. The whole day felt meaningful, not just academically, but on a human level. It was powerful to see how much pride the community had in their forest and how actively involved they were in protecting it. The connections we made in Bandipur felt very real, and it's a day I'll always remember throughout my life. When we left Bandipur, we carried all these conversations, insights, and experiences with us, ready for whatever came next on our journey.
So after our field day in Bandipur, we traveled back to Kathmandu. We physically felt very tired, but it was a very fulfilling trip. As soon as we get back to Kathmandu, we came back to Thewa and we started working on our reflection. So we work in our 3 groups to analyze the data and information that we gathered. We also reflect on the entire experience, and we're trying to develop the presentation that we're going to present to the whole CS. So all the 3 teams are working on 3 different themes that we were interested in. One of the group talked about the forest management that the CFUG do. The second group focused more on the human-wildlife conflicts, and then the third one focused on subsistence farming in Nepal. And we came across a lot of very interesting findings. For example, with human-wildlife interaction, we found out that the CFUG community focus more on coexistence rather than control over wildlife. And then they are also very proud of how they manage their forest. And especially for my group, we were working on the farming subsistence in Bandipur. And we found out that the value, how people value their lands has changed over the past few years. It went from using them solely as subsistence farming into a more market-focused usage. One of my best memory of during working with the group was that during that intense time, our teaching assistants Ben and Ishan came to us and brought us Nepali snacks, and they told us that we needed to take a break. I remember the snack was really sweet, and we eat it outside of the room where we worked, and it was sunset at the time, and it was such a really good memory. So thanks, Ben and Ishan. One of the things that we have come to realize throughout this field trip is that we've been thinking a lot about our positionality, what it means going out from the class into the field, going from Global North University and come to Nepal as a researcher, what it means to talk to these people and this community, what it means. Is it just that we are trying to gather as much data and information, or are we coming there with care for them and trying to build trust and relationship with them? We realized that if we had more time to build trust with the community, we might be able to get more diverse data information, but nonetheless, we were very happy. We were very thankful that we were welcomed so warmly and everyone showed a lot of care to us, especially the CFUG community. We are also very thankful for CS. We are not going to be able to do it without them. Before we came to Nepal, they have built relationship with the community, which opens the door for us to be able to come to the community, be welcomed, do our mini research. And so we are very thankful for CS for organizing the trip, and also for just in general giving us a safe space to learn, so we're not afraid to ask questions, be ourselves, and be curious in the process. Our Nepal trip was one of the most rewarding academic experience that I have personally had. It was really nice that we have spent 2 semesters learning in class, challenging our thoughts and ideas of what development is, and actually came to the field and learning for ourselves what it really means. It has changed how we approach development project in general, how we approach learning in general. So it's been really nice seeing everything that we have learned in class for ourselves in the field.
Looking back on our field trip to Nepal, it's hard to put into words just how much this experience gave us. It wasn't a kind of learning that's replicable here in the classroom in Edinburgh. We really had to go there to experience it. What made the experience really special is that we went there as a group. There's 18 of us in our class from 11 different countries, which means we all have different backgrounds, cultures, and languages. But we were able to form such a strong collective and really support each other, even in difficult moments, which all of us had at least at some point in this trip. And so going away from Nepal, we really felt so much closer and as much better friends. The diversity between us could have divided us, but instead it was one of our biggest strengths. We learned so much from each other in moments that we didn't expect learning to happen, so like over dinner or while laughing together, commuting between one place and another. It was just so special to spend a lot of time together and get to properly talk to everyone on the course. We became closer in ways that sometimes surprised us. There's just something about being far away from home that bonds you in a way that nothing else could. And traveling together is one of the most bonding experiences any group of people can have. As we stepped into this new year of 2082 with our Nepalese colleagues, We were able to gain a new perspective on our course and the topics we've been learning about throughout this year in our Masters of Environment and Development. The most important thing we learned is that meaningful change needs to come from the ground up and be shaped by the people who are affected by the global issues that we are facing. As we already said, the fieldwork couldn't have happened without our partners in CS. But at the heart of this trip are the amazing Sam and Claire, the course organizers, and our professors who were with us in Nepal, took care of us and gave us whatever we needed, whether it was time, support, or a hug. And we're just so grateful that they're making this happen every single year with a different group of people. And we really hope that this field trip can continue in the years to come so that more students can experience the incredible learning journey that is Nepal.
The best word to describe my experience on this trip would be community.
Growth.
Gratitude.
Care.
Reciprocity.
Emotion.